Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, the character that got me into the MCU and reading comics. She started as a fan-favorite underdog and became one of the most powerful Avengers. And then, Marvel completely fumbled her character arc. Her downfall wasn't just in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it started earlier in WandaVision, where Marvel slowly flipped the morals of her story. What started as a brilliant, heartbreaking look at grief turned into a justification for Wanda's worst actions, and by the end, it sent her spiraling into full-blown villainy. So how did Marvel drop the ball on Wanda Maximoff? Let's break it down. Wanda Maximoff's MCU journey started with Avengers Age of Ultron. She and her brother Pietro were survivors of war, manipulated by Hydra and then recruited by Ultron. But instead of remaining villains, they saw the bigger picture and chose to fight alongside the Avengers. Even back then, Wanda's abilities set her apart. She wasn't just another superpowered hero. She could warp minds, crush enemies with a flick of her wrist, and by the end of the film, unleash a power we hadn't seen. In Captain America Civil War, her power was feared. She made one mistake in Lagos and suddenly the world saw her as dangerous. That fear forced her into hiding, deepening her isolation. But through it all, she remained an Avenger, trying to do the right thing. And then came Infinity War, where Wanda had to make an impossible choice: kill Vision to save the universe. She held back Thanos with one hand while destroying the Mind Stone with the other. That moment alone solidified her as one of the strongest and most tragic characters in the MCU. By the time Endgame rolled around, she was filled with rage, nearly taking Thanos down single-handedly. Fans were ready for her to step into the spotlight, and then WandaVision happened. At first, WandaVision felt like the perfect story for Wanda. It was unique, creative, and deeply emotional. We saw her process her grief in a way that no other MCU character had before. But then, something changed. What started as a touching character study turned into something darker, and not in the way it should have. Wanda wasn't just grieving, she was controlling an entire town. She tortured innocent people and held them hostage in her fantasy and ignored their suffering. And the worst part, the show justified it. Instead of holding her accountable, WandaVision flipped the moral perspective. Suddenly it was okay for Wanda to mind control an entire town because she was grieving. When Monica Rambeau told Wanda they'll never know what you sacrificed for them, the show framed Wanda as a victim, when in reality, she was the oppressor. And then she just walked away. No consequences, no real redemption, just a tease that she'd become even stronger. And that led directly into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where things got even worse. Doctor Strange 2 didn't just make Wanda a villain, it turned her into a horror movie monster. Her only motivation? Finding her imaginary children in another universe, no matter how many people she had to kill to get there. She wiped out Carmitage. She brutally murdered the Illuminati. She hunted America Chavez across dimensions. Yes, the Darkhold was corrupting her, but the movie never showed her fighting against it. It just made her evil with no real internal conflict. And then, after all that, she dies? Just like that, Wanda is crushed under a pile of rubble. No closure, no redemption, just wasted potential. Marvel took one of their most layered, emotionally complex characters and reduced her to a villain of the week. Here's where Marvel went wrong. 1. Making Wanda's actions justifiable. WandaVision made it acceptable for Wanda to hurt innocent people because she was grieving. Instead of holding her accountable, the show framed her as the victim. 2. Skipping her descent into villainy. Doctor Strange 2 didn't build up to Wanda's dark turn. It just jumped straight into it. We never got to see her struggle against the Darkhold's corruption. 3. Throwing her away for shock value. Instead of giving Wanda a proper arc, Marvel used her as a plot device and tossed her aside. So, the big question, can Marvel fix Wanda? If Avengers Doomsday is truly the multiversal event it's rumored to be, there's a chance Wanda could return. But if they bring her back, they need to fix her story. She needs a real redemption arc. She needs to atone for what she's done, not just be written off as corrupted by the Darkhold. She deserves the same level of care that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers got, not to be thrown away for shock value. If Marvel can course correct, Wanda could still be one of the most compelling characters in the MCU. But if they don't, then they've wasted one of their greatest assets. What do you think? Did Marvel mishandle Wanda? Should she come back? And if so, how should they fix her? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.